Why? Do you remember how early in the year I came back and then just disappear again? Yeah, me neither. Since last time that you saw me, I actually finished my MA and started a PhD. I still feel the biggest imposter syndrome every time I say that. But that is true. I, in fact, have started a PhD. And to be honest, the transition was okay for me because it's still within the same university that I did my MA. And I really like my supervisor. But still, doing a PhD is very lonely. I don't know how to explain it more than that. It's alienating since you are alone with your topic, even though you have a supervisor. It's pretty much you're on your own, kid. And that could be scary. So I want this video to be an introduction so you can get to know me if this is the first time you see my face. And if you have seen me in my other videos, well, it's just a little bit of a life update. I started this channel when I had just finished my BA in English. I did a major in English, a minor in comparative literature in Spanish, and it was 2020. And we all know what happened then. Then I went into doing my MA in literary studies, and now I'm doing the PhD. So it's been I think, an interesting couple of years. My name is Isabel. I'm from Mexico. In the past, I mainly focused on Victorian literature, especially with a feminist approach or a post colonial approach. But now I am in contemporary American literature, which is a whole new different world for me. I'm still really enjoying my program and my research. And I also want to talk a little bit about what type of researcher I am in case you relate, or if not, it might be interesting to see how other people approach research topics and projects. As I said before, all of my degrees are in literature, so all of my skills can apply to studying literature. So if you are doing your PhD in biochemistry, enjoy the ride, but it probably won't be as useful for you as it could be to other students. But just stay here. You know, it'll be fun. Or you can just skip to towards the end of the video when I talk about other things. So starting a PhD really starts with finding a topic, or at least that's how it did for me. I really wanted to find a topic that I knew that I was going to find interesting in 2 years, in 3, in 4. Because what happens is that no matter how much time you allocate to a project, it has to be a project that you find enjoyable, an idea that you find interesting. When you find yourself in some of those moments, when you really don't know if you want to continue, when you feel stuck in your own writing, when you cannot find more information, that's when you start thinking, well, okay, I am a bit stuck. I am not comfortable with what I'm writing. I don't like where I'm going, or I don't know where I'm going, but I still think this idea is interesting. I still think that this is a worthy project for me to spend my time in. Because, at least in my experience, people are not very supportive when you tell them that you want to study literature and dedicate all of this time and effort, and sometimes money as well, for it. External people often perceive it as useless. And that could be your opinion too. I'm just saying that you don't find a lot of support or validation through others. So you really need to be doing it for yourself, and because you think this is important, because no one else thinks this is important but you. And that's why it's very important for you to choose a topic that you feel passionate about and that you find interesting. And it varies. Maybe you're a high school student, or you're at the beginning stages of your degree, and you don't have that much choice and freedom to just pick whatever topic that interests you. And you might given prompts or certain books that you need to write about. And still, even if you dislike the book and you find it boring, it could be very interesting to write about that book that you don't like. Write about those things that you detest, those things that could have been improved, or look what other people say and find people who agree with you for different reasons. All of that is very interesting. If you don't like it, just find something you do actually want to spend time with and like hyperfixate on. Now, once you apply and you're in the program and you have a topic, the fun begins, the actual work. And the interesting thing about being a PhD student is that it's a lot of freedom. You are your own boss, no one is after you. And that's why when people approach me asking what my experience is, or maybe they're interested in this, I always go and say in the best way that you need to work on your self-discipline before you start. Your own motivation is not going to get you very far if you need constant external pressure. If you need a fixed deadline and constant deadlines from others, and you are one of those people that put everything towards the end, I mean, you can do that. Or maybe you can do that. I am not one of those geniuses that can sit down and write a good or even passable essay the night before. I need a lot of time. I don't think I'm a particularly strong writer. My stronger points are in research and finding things and finding connections and coming up with ideas. That is my strongest point. But I know that writing is not. So I give myself a lot of time. But you also have a lot of time to do your PhD, but you need to actively work on it because no one else is checking to see if you're working on it. So you can spend years without doing much. You could do the bare minimum and pretend like you do things, but that is just in reality you're not deceiving anyone because no one cares, because no one is checking. It should be you because you are otherwise shooting yourself in the foot. So what I like to do is that I'm a big planner. I like to plan, okay, from this and this I'm going to research and then I'm going to write. And what is very useful for me, and that could be a good technique for you, is to think that everything can be broken down into parts. Let's say introduction, chapter 1 to 6, conclusion, works cited, or introduction, three body paragraphs, conclusion, or even in a smaller form, a paragraph. You have claim, the introduction of your quote, you have the quote, then you explain and analyze the quote, then you write the significance of why this goes back to your main argument, and then you write a pretty little bridge towards the next paragraph. You can think of everything like that, and you can see all of the parts of the puzzle. You can have it here in the grand scheme of things, and for you it's just to put them together, to write the connections. And what I like to do is what I call the filling method. That is, you write, okay, I need an introduction here in your Word document, and you write it down like just the words enter, 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 and this is my thesis argument that talks about A, B, and C. And then you have, I'm going to have a paragraph here that is going to have this claim, that is claim A, with this quote. And then paragraph 2 is going to be this claim, that is claim B, with this quote. And then you just fill in. You write, okay, I need a sentence that connects this claim to this quote. And then I just need to analyze this quote. And then why is this significant? There, you have a paragraph. And then you do the same and same. And it breaks this feeling that you don't know where to begin, because you do know. If you had an idea, if you did the reading, if you are doing a little bit of research, you have ideas. You do know what you want to say. It's just that it's all scrambled up. But if you kind of do the outlining, you come up with the terms of, okay, this is my go to plan, then it's going to be easier. And all of this is practice. Where was I? Yes, I don't know why I went into this rant about planning and writing. My bad. Okay, PhD life, other than lonely and still very free, I would say try to have a nice balance of it. I know, it's impossible. The thing is, because you have that freedom, you might think that you are going to have so much free time because no one is after you. But the thing is, at least for me, is that I feel a lot of guilt when I'm not working on my dissertation. That's why I disappear. That's why I feel like it took me some months, even though I came from a very organized and research focused background and all of that is straight from the master's straight from the BA. It's still different and an adjustment because no one is after you. So you're your own boss. So you think that you need to be productive the whole time, but you don't. When I say that you need to work on it, I mean, for example, that the way I work on my dissertation every day, that is, some days working on my dissertation means reading. I am reading a book and I sit down and I read this book for, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, and then I do something else. Because I'm still a human, I still need to cook and I need to clean and do my groceries and my laundry and do other things in life like seeing friends or doing my hobbies. And some days that is what I give to my dissertation. I'm also going to be teaching soon, so I need to plan that class, all of other things. In other days, I'm in my office more than 6 hours working on my dissertation, doing research, taking notes, writing notes. I try to make it that I work Monday to Friday at least on a little bit of my dissertation. Every day, my goal of the day is to work on my dissertation even a little bit. And if other days I get to spend more hours on it, then that's great. But this constant work also means that I am constantly thinking about it. I'm constantly thinking of ideas, revising ideas, going back, doing connections. Since I am not fully done reading my main materials, my primary literatures, when I read a book that connects to a book that I read before, like 3 months ago, I open my research journal, I take notes, I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm seeing so many connections that I wouldn't have so fresh if I occasionally work on it. Or if I try to do batch work that I only work on it maybe once every 2 weeks or 1 week. And that takes me to my following point that I would like to make a full video about that if you are interested. That is my research journal. I would just suggest you take any notebook and you write any thoughts you have on your book. It doesn't have to be a full sentence, it doesn't have to be a review, it doesn't have to be any type of analysis. It's just kind of like to keep track of what's happening in your brain, since your own thoughts about literature are super valuable. You might think they're not, you might think that they're not elegant enough, but that would happen afterwards. And the way that those thoughts become elegant sentences is because you write them down. It's because you keep thinking of them and you keep them fresh in your memory and you don't let them just like slip away in the crevices of your brain. The beauty of academic writing is that because this have this format in this setting, the more you do it, the better you're at it, the least amount of time that you need to outline, and the more organized your ideas come out of you into the page. It doesn't mean that you are going to achieve this perfection in a couple of years. Most scholars and professors take years, decades to achieve a level of perfection and elegancy that they have this craft really honed in, because that's what it is. Writing is a craft, and you don't have to be afraid of it. You just need to give yourself enough time to practice. Sometimes, even when I feel unmotivated, I just flip through the pages of my research journal and I look at the notes that I left myself weeks ago, months ago, etc. And I think, oh yeah, this is a good idea to keep up, or like, no, that was disproven already by me and these other researchers I read afterwards. But I find that very valuable. And sometimes when we are writing, we think that first we need to look for someone that is smarter than us, someone that has more authority to talk about the topic because they are published, because they have a book about it or a journal article. And that's not necessarily the case. And sometimes, if you don't have your ideas straight about what you think during your experience of reading the book, it might be hard to come up with an argument that is your own instead of just reharsing what you read that other people have argued before. That is a bit of a tip. I have some videos about academic writing, and if you would like an updated one, just let me know. Now, as I said before, I only work on my dissertation Monday to Friday, and you might be thinking, well, what do you do during the weekend? You give yourself free weekends? Yes and no. I give myself free weekends sometimes. Sometimes I do add a bit of reading for my dissertation, especially right now that I'm towards the end of reading my primary text. So I'm reading a lot of novels for my topic. So I need the time, but I don't write anything. I do it very leisurely. And if I don't feel like it, then I don't do it. What do I do during the weekend is what I'm going to recommend all of you to do. The funny thing about being an English major is that you don't have time to read for fun. You have so much reading to do because that is your major. That is how we get into the discussions and the writing and the fun things. We start by reading things. That is our main material, our main thing. And so much time is spent in reading. And sometimes there are even things that you don't enjoy, that you don't like. I do agree that that's good, that you read things that you don't like. You should be trained to do that and to have a critical eye to see, okay, I personally don't like this book. I would have never picked it or finished it by myself. But I see all of these things that are worth my time to discuss. Or I don't see any of that and I'm going to destroy it in the class discussion and I'm going to write about it and it's going to be amazing. Reading for fun. Not a lot of time for it when you're an English major, especially as you go on for more advanced degrees. Maybe you have another job on top of studying or family obligations, or you want to spend time with your friends, with your partner, but you do need other hobbies. For me, since I learned how to read, my main hobby was reading. And then I made it my job. And then I don't dislike reading. I've never gone through a phase of I don't want to read anymore. But sometimes I feel very burned out and a lot of guilt if I'm not reading what I have to do. And sometimes I just feel like I need to do something else because I get a lot of anxiety and it's hard for me. And sometimes I feel like it's very hard for me to turn off my critical brain, my academic scholarly brain, when I'm reading for fun. So if I want to fully detach from that, I need to do something else. I am Mrs. Hobbies. I have so many hobbies. They're not that balanced because I don't particularly love going outside or doing exercise or anything like that. So my main hobbies are indoors, particularly done from this chair. I like embroidering, I like knitting, I like crocheting, I like painting, I like drawing, I love cooking and baking and watching movies. I'm a big cinephile and I love TV shows. And those are things that I want to include in my life. Having this structure and limits allows me to include all of those things that I want to do, like doing YouTube videos for all of you, mostly for me because not a lot of people see my videos, reading for fun, but also doing my other hobbies. So that is my advice to you. Try to allocate some time to something that you enjoy, even if that is just a walk around the block and you only have 20 minutes for that. If you enjoy that, do it. Now, to conclude this whole thing about PhDs, I love it. I am very happy with my choice. I would like to share more of my process with you since I just started my PhD in March and I'm recording this towards the end of October. So it's a long way for us to go, but I am very happy. I've never regretted studying literature. I've said this before. I'm very privileged to say that I never had to question myself too much. I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I know that I want to become a professor. I've never had a lot of doubts about it, which if you do, that's totally normal. That's totally fine. And I know so many brilliant scholars that have had so many doubts in a completely different path from mine, and they are so good. So do not feel like if you don't have everything figured out or anything, then you cannot do it, because that is completely false. Now, talking about books, because we love books, I want to show you three books, two that I'm currently reading and the one that I want to read. I know you thought that you wouldn't see books in this video, but you're wrong. So the book that I'm about to finish is Philip Roth, The Human Stain. This book, you will be hearing about this very soon. I don't like it. See, this is what I was telling you, that it's good for you to read things that you dislike because you can find so many useful arguments. This book is set in 1998 with the whole background of Bill Clinton's sexual harassment and impeachment claim, Monica Lewinsky being destroyed in all the media, and we see an old professor facing what we now call political correctness and overcorrectness in academia. Not This is not to say that this man is completely innocent. He is somehow innocent, but he's still an asshole that I hate. That's what I've said. My thing with Philip Roth is that he's such a good writer. He is. The man knows how to write, but he's also super gross, and he often loses the plot. Not of the book, but there are so many cool avenues that he touches upon, but he likes to zero in on his self insert. I know I said it. You will be hearing me ranting about this pretty soon. I am reading it as part of my dissertation research. I'm probably not going to write a lot about it because it's not within my time frame, but I'm reading it for context. Similarly, I just started again The Secret History. You will be able to find a video on The Secret History in this channel. I think it was 2020. And that is a very different type of video because I loved it and I did it for fun. And now I'm reading it to write about it for my research. And I want you to know, think of The Human Stain and The Secret History and guess down in the comment section what is my research topic. That could be interesting. Go, think about it. You thought about it? Ready? Okay, I'll give you some more time. So I'm rereading The Secret History and I am going to be marking very specific passages that are going to be useful for what I have to write. So there might be less markings, and I don't know if I'm going to do a video about it because I already have one, but I might do one focused on my research. And the book that I want to read. I got this book the day that it came out because I put a rush order in my local bookstore and I harassed the people that work there. Big hi to Order Fusely employees. You're so great. Thank you for picking up my calls. Thanks. And it's Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. I am so happy to have this book, but I am also so sad that I have not read it. I haven't read any of it because sometimes when you are such a big fan of a writer, like I am of Sally Rooney, and you wait for years for the book and then it comes out, you either devour the moment it lands on your hand or you postpone it to the perfect time. And that's what I've been doing. I've been postponing it because my ideal time is to be sitting on this chair all week with an influx of tea, going slowly, devouring every single word. But as you might think, I haven't had time. I had other commitments during my weekends, so I haven't been able to dedicate the full weekend to it, and that's why I haven't started it. But hopefully, we will remedy this very quickly. And the moment I do, you will get my full opinions on Intermezzo because you know I love Sally Rooney. You can see my video on Beautiful World, Where Are You? And you can see my video on Normal People. And I don't think I have a full video on Conversations with Friends, but it must be in a monthly wrap up if you're super interested in it, which you probably aren't because only my mom is watching this video. So that's it. Those are my reading plans. As I said, I'm not reading a lot. No, edit that from the transcript. I am reading a lot. I am reading a lot of novels, but I'm also reading a lot of research. Like book chapters, secondary literature, and I don't add that towards my book reads or anything like that. So there is not going to be a full end of the year video with 80 books I read. Maybe not even my regular 50 books. Last year, I already so far I did I think 43 because I was doing my MA thesis and my MA exams. And this year is probably going to be around the same amount. And that is to tell you it doesn't matter how many books you read. That is a social construct that started by BookTube, Bookstagram, BookTube, whatever book platform you use. No one cares how many books you read, and you're not a better reader because you read 100 books a year. Some of us would even argue that that is a very big number for you to fully have digested and understood and enjoy what you're reading. It's also very different because I read very in detail. Not that it's better than other people read, but I spend a lot of time with books and I read a lot and I write a lot about them, even the ones I read for fun. So I don't just like to consume it. I like to stay with one. I like to think about one and I have other things that I do, and you probably do as well. So do not let other people whose main job is to read because they get paid for it and they get free books, or they are lying to you because, surprise, a lot of people lie on the internet, or they just have a different lifestyle than you and a different brain capacity than you, and that's totally okay. So I'm not going to read 100 books this year, probably not even 50. And if you only managed to read one this year, I am still very proud of you, okay? Okay. Okay, after that rant, what can I tell you now? I think that should be it. You know, why stretch it out? This is probably already 30 minutes because I cannot stop talking ever. I hope you like my introduction. Just to remind you, I am Isabel. I'm 26. I'm Mexican and I am a Capricorn. I am a mood reader, a PhD student. I'm a joker. I'm a smoker. I'm a midnight toker. No, forget that. Forget I did that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. You will probably see me next week with a book review. Yay! Thanks for watching. Keep reading. And when you're not, follow me on all my social media, link down below. Please, please, please subscribe because I've been away for so long that probably the YouTube algorithm doesn't even know me anymore. Bye bye.